Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm way late. Later than I wanted to be here. Not really late, but my name is Joanna Daniel. If it's the first time you are catching me, and I am founder of Rose Scars, where we will help adult survivors of childhood trauma heal so that they can show up better in their relationships. We do that three ways through conferences, courses, and retreats. This year, and maybe for next spring, we will be online because COVID. I've been here every day since the end of October, and I really appreciate your company, really appreciate the fact that you join me and you show up with me every day. For those who do, and for you who watch the replays and do your hashtag replays, I really, really appreciate it because sometimes it can feel a little bit lonely. Like, am I on my own? Am I here by myself? Is anybody with me? Is anybody out there? So when you comment, it really does let me know that you are out there and that you're hearing me. I can see that I am on YouTube. I hope you can hear me over on Facebook. Let me know if you can hear me. So thank you for joining me. And throughout this season, up until tomorrow, tomorrow's Thursday, when we start the 12 days of Christmas. So I'm doing 12 days leading up to Christmas. And we're going to look at some amazing things like I'm going to read my list out to you of some of the stuff that we're doing. We're doing boundaries with self. We're looking at boundaries with a narcissistic mother during the Christmas season, the holiday season. How do we navigate that? I might get somebody to come on and talk so we can talk about this one, but we'll see. We look at boundaries with families. We're going to look at boundaries with families. We're going to talk about how to boundary self. Self sometimes needs boundarying around this time as well because, well, I won't go into why, but we're going to also look at what do you do. Hello, Roxanne. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. We're also going to look at what do you do when you are the black sheep of the family. When you are the black sheep of the family, how do you go to Christmas meals or family gatherings around this time? How do you manage those? Are they stressful for you? And if they are, I'm going to give you some tips about how you can manage and the things that you can do to manage self and to bound yourself so that you are not the target of toxic family members. And we're going to talk about mindset around being alone. Some people are alone around Christmas time. How do you manage that? What are some of the things that you can do to make sure that you put yourself in the right frame of mind to be able to manage and to be okay? I'm also going to talk about what do you do when you're triggered? Sometimes this season is not a happy season for everybody. Everybody's not feeling merry. Some people are really struggling. And so I'm going to talk about what to do when you are struggling around this time. How do you navigate those spaces and times? There's going to be worksheets and homework, and we're going to have a whole class for 12 days from tomorrow. So I'm hoping that you're going to join me. Tell your friends, share the channel with your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mother and your father, and people that you know who struggle in these areas and might want to know how to set boundaries. I know that boundaries are not automatic. We don't always know how to do it. And so sometimes we have to learn. So come and join me and let me coach you in how to show up and represent yourself and let people hear you, how to speak so that people can hear you. All right. So I'm looking forward to seeing you from tomorrow for 12 days leading up to Christmas. I also need your thoughts and prayers to be able to show up on time and be consistent. So today we're talking about the 5 second rule in self care because this week, from last week, we were talking about self care. And self care is really important when we've experienced trauma. When we've experienced trauma, self care is really important. And even if you're in our community, you're here and your story is not childhood trauma, 2020 is traumatic. There's nobody who can say 2020 didn't throw us all off our game. 2020 threw all of us. And so what research is finding is that the cumulative effect of life that is ignored have the same impact on the body as trauma does. And so if you were just pushing your way through 2020 and not paying attention to you and to what was going on in your body, then you really need to hear this. So I'm talking about the 5 second rule and self care. How do we do that? And I talk about self care that's not just external. I talk about self care that affects the whole body so that you can have more space and have more capacity to do more in your life and to receive more in your life as well. That's the kind of self care I am about. So somebody distract me with a message. So self-care, 5 second rule. So you have not a long time to make a decision. So you wake up and your brain goes, go for a walk, put on the video on YouTube, do that exercise program that you purchased that you haven't used yet. Wear that new trainers that you bought. Do that. You have 5 seconds. You have a really short window to make that decision to get up and to get moving. And what I say is motivation won't get you up. But when you make the decision to move, motivation will keep you going because motivation meets you along the way and it will keep you going, but it won't make you move. So if you're waiting on motivation to make you move, you won't move. But once you've moved, once you've gotten up, motivation is that thing that will keep you going. So you have 5 seconds. You have a short window to make a decision to get out of bed, to get up from off the chair, to to start stretching, to put on YouTube, to do whatever you need to do. You have that time, that small window to make that decision to do it. If you think about if you use foods to cope, for example, and you go into the shop and you're on the aisle of the things that you love, you have a small window to get away from there. Otherwise, the decision that you're making is you're going to leave that. Chances are you're going to leave that shop with the thing that you want. So the same rule applies to looking after self. You have a small window. And I've been here saying this for this time because I want you to see self-care as non-negotiable. I want you to not wait until you get to the edge before you make a decision to do self-care. Because sometimes the pains and the aches that we have in our body, they're somatic. They're linked to repress pain, repress trauma, repress cumulative effect of life, and it affects the nervous system, affects the body, affects our organs, our digestive system, and it just wreaks havoc. And so that's why it's important to do things that relaxes the body, cause the lungs to work, drink enough so that your organs have enough water, toxins are being removed from the body. All of those things are self-care that opens you up, give you more capacity to do life in a more fuller, fulfilling way. Okay. So above this video below for YouTube, I have a new self-care manifesto. So 8 simple strategies that you can use for effective self-care. So click the link and get that access to that. It's a short ebook, really easy to read. You'll be finished with it in no time, but you'll have principles that will be lasting, that can nurture and look after you over and over again. I use those principles every day. I use them every day. And I went to a health retreat in October for my holiday that uses these principles. And I realized that, sometimes you can know something and take it for granted. I realized that I was relaxing a little bit. I was taking it for granted. I wasn't as effective as I should have been. I wasn't using it as consistently or as be as effective as I needed to be. But but they are effective. So go and grab that ebook and share it with your friends and your family members as well, and start to practicing these principles. And please come back and let me know how they work for you. So it's for now. We are going to shift focus a little bit as we start the 12 days of Christmas tomorrow to get you ready. So I'm hoping that I'm going to see you here from 1 p.m. tomorrow as well. Thank you for being here with me every day. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the messages that you send and the emails that you send. Thank you for the wonderful, amazing responses. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.